Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to episode 27 of Let's Talk Meditation with Heather Nieves, titled It's Time to Take Up Space. As a women's empowerment coach and founder of I Love Me Yoga, I absolutely love helping women learn to love themselves, step into their highest potential through movement, meditation, and mirror work. Before we dive into today's conversation, let's pause and take a deep breath. Ready? Take a deep breath in, fill the belly up, and sigh it out. I needed that. How do you feel now? I'm just so grateful to have this show to connect with you listeners and to share what has moved me. Because when it moves me, I know I am called. It is my sacred responsibility to share it with you, because if it has moved me, I have a feeling that at least one person will be moved or empowered by the things that I'm sharing. So as I navigate my pregnancy, I notice my patterns, that inner dialogue, the tendency to focus on what I don't have yet rather than what I do have or where I am not yet, the lack. And definitely go back and listen to episode 25 titled Releasing the Tendency of Lack if you have not yet. I listened to it. I listened to my own podcast. I listened to it again, and it's empowering AF. I'm very self-aware, and patterns don't just stop once we notice them and focus on our new way of being. They don't just stop, right? They resurface. And then, especially when it's been a lifetime of thinking a certain way. So I noticed this pattern of lack. And when I'm noticing it, I decided, no, I don't want to keep thinking this way, right? Like, I just received income. Why am I treating it like it's not enough? So I decided to write down all that I'm grateful for, to celebrate every single penny that I have received in the past week, in the past month, and all of the amazing things that are coming up in my month. So what's really incredible is I decided in that moment. So in that episode, I have a whole journaling session, episode 25, releasing the tendency of lack. In that episode, I have a whole journaling session for you to go through this. So I do it on my own. I'm teaching it. I'm also practicing it. But it was in that moment that I was not going to let the lack thoughts spiral. And that's what the power of meditation offers us, is that we can interrupt, right? We can interrupt the pattern, the loop, and say, not again, not again. It's coming up. I'm aware, but how would I prefer to think? What would I rather think about? So I shift into gratitude, into abundance. So in that very moment that I decided, I'm not going to let the lack thoughts spiral. And I started writing gratitude and abundance about all that I've received and all that's coming in my coming month of October. I literally got a notification on my phone from Venmo. I received $20 from Jennifer Dragonet. She is such a beautiful soul. She helped me launch this podcast, actually, and I'll be interviewing her soon, because it's time for you to take up space and be heard. And she told me my podcast had been inspiring her, and she'd been a silent listener, and she wanted to treat me to lunch. Like, talk about signs from the universe in divine timing. I was also listening to The Universe Has My Back by Gabby Bernstein while I was taking my son to school. And she was talking about signs from the universe. So the things that we put into our subconscious, it's all connected. So pay attention to what you're feeding your mind. And I was so taken back, not just by the kind gesture, but also the timing of it, right? It was a moment to be in the abundance of receiving money, but also a reminder to take up more space and keep sharing my message. So if you feel like giving up, or you're not where you want to be yet, then let this be your sign from the universe to keep going, right? People are reading your posts and your emails and listening to your podcast, watching your live videos. And if you're not doing those things in your business yet, then let's talk. It's time to talk about taking up space, which is what this episode is about. But before I move on, I do want to ask if you've listened to the last episode with Whitney Warmka. She talked about EFT tapping, right? Tapping is so powerful. She even led a short EFT tapping session at the end, and it was all about self-trust. And I bring this up because if we do not trust ourselves and our inner guidance, then how can we take up more space? Right? How can we show up and be more, serve more, share our magic that we've been called to? Which, by the way, this is a muscle. It takes practice. But more importantly, it just takes willingness. I believe Mel Robbins said confidence is really just willingness to do it scared. That self-trust, trusting the inner knowing, trusting your guidance. So when I work with my clients, we do release work meditations around worthiness and being enough, and it clears the energy to tap into the willingness, to tap into the self-trust, to honor the nudges. And I also know that we do not recognize the magnitude of who we are and why we are here and what we do. We forget. So that's why it's so important to surround yourself with others that lift you up, that challenge you, that help you remember who the F you are and remind you of your greatness. Hey, I'm here to do that. I mean, whether it's a group of friends, whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, whether it's just a bunch of entrepreneurs, it's so important to pay attention to who are we surrounding ourselves with, not someone who's going to point out your flaws, someone who's going to say, wow, you're freaking amazing. Right? So, for example, oftentimes we shrink down who we are in the work that we do. Like I could call this just, oh, I just have a little podcast out there, or oh, I just teach a little I Love Me yoga class in a small space. It only holds 8 mats, right? I could call what I'm doing small. I could shrink down, right? Or I can give myself permission to take up space. And remember that everything that we put out into the world, it's big, it's important, it matters. I matter, you matter, right? We can give ourselves permission to take up space and shift into the energy and all that we are. And remember, I'm a big deal. You're a big deal. Yeah. Right. And sometimes people do point out our flaws, but we then have a choice. Is this a true statement or is this a condition? Conditioned thoughts. Is this truth? Do I want to absorb this and continue to believe it or hear it? Setting boundaries, right? So I decided I want to take up more space. This sign from the universe, where I was sent $20 Venmo the other day. I think it was just yesterday. I have a podcast. I have yoga classes. I have coaching packages that are going to change your life and how you see yourself for the rest of your life. 8 people, 80 people, 800 people. It is impact. And it creates a ripple effect in their lives and in the lives and the people around them. One person matters. You matter. So I mentioned Shiana Rivers a few episodes ago. I interviewed her on the podcast a bit ago, and we talked about spirituality and Reiki. But she reminded me of this taking up space when I attended another in-person Reiki meditation at the park. In-person events are so powerful, by the way. If you are exclusively participating in online things, please get out into your community. Gather in real life. It's time. We are overdue. And if you're only doing it here and there and you only have the capacity, then take that moment or invite in, please, universe, create space for me to be surrounded by good energy. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. I get stuck in my little bubble in my town sometimes, to be honest. I don't commute anymore like I did years ago. But going to a meditation at the park is grounding, is powerful. I get to surround myself with good people. So at this event, she started saying, "Oh, I host this little Reiki meditation in the park on the full moons, at the new moons." And then she remembered, what I do is not little, it is not small. So she shared this thought with me and it hit home. So I'm applying it to my life. And for me, it's my sacred responsibility to share this with you, beautiful souls listening right now. So I want you to close your eyes if you're not driving, and I just want you to hear these words. It is safe to take up space. It is so safe to take up space. Put your hands on your heart, put your hands on your belly, and just say it out loud. It is safe to take up space. It is safe to be more you, or claim it. It is it is safe for me to be more me. Claim it, own it, decide. It is safe to be paid for the work that you do. It is safe to be supported by the universe, and it is safe to ask for signs. You know, staying small and shrinking back, it's kept us safe in the same, right? And it served us for a time because we want to feel safe. Because we've been conditioned to be good girls, not to be loud or sexy or successful, to let our spouses take care of us while we take care of the children, et cetera, et cetera. You know, babies are abundant, and being caretakers, it's a blessing. But and we get to have our own income. We get to tap into our desires and be more than just mom, wife, etc., right? So I invite you to go out and take up more space today. Go back, listen to the past few episodes. I listen to my own podcast. It's me talking to me. So what more powerful message than me? And I do ask, if you're enjoying these episodes, please tag me on Instagram at I am Heather Nieves, or on Facebook. And just remember how important you are, that you matter. You are a big deal. And if you're interested in working together, I do have space for one more one-on-one client. I'll be launching a group coaching program soon. We need to get our energy together. We need to mastermind. We need to empower one another. When women gather together, we have ideas. Oh yeah, do you know so-and-so? I know so-and-so who knows so-and-so, and let me connect you. We are natural connectors. We are natural uplifters. So we need to spend more time together. And just know that now it's time. It's time to turn up, to tune in, to turn on. The year is almost over after all. We don't need to wait till January. So I feel like this episode is complete. I'm going to give myself permission to deliver a shorter episode. Go take out space, and I will talk to you, beautiful souls, next week.